Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with another episode of the weekly wrap up on the Yakking Show. And this is for the week ending 19th of July 2024. So, first, let's welcome co host Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Peter. A little bit husky voice this morning, but otherwise okay. Fine form, and
Good.
welcome everyone.
Yeah, and we are coming to you from a very soggy and wet Ontario this morning. We've had 5 inches of rain in the last 3 days, 126 millimeters or something in metric, and there are puddles of water lying everywhere, flooded fields. And I heard that, excuse me, London up the road, they had flooded cars yesterday, and parts of Greater Toronto is the same thing.
Right.
Oh, excuse me. So, for this part of the world, unusually heavy rain in a short
Mhm.
space of time.
Not good for the
But
crops.
we don't want too much more, but we don't want to complain because we also don't want it to go away permanently either. So we've got to just tolerate it for a bit longer. So that's it. So first of all, we are going to start off with Kathleen's health research that she's been doing. She got a very interesting topic to discuss this morning. Then we'll be talking about the product that we recommend this week, and then we'll get into talking about who's been on the show this week and who's coming next week. So Kathleen, it's over to you.
Well, thank you, Peter. Well, you know what, Peter? What I want to talk to you about is that many substances used for food processing are never listed on ingredient labels. Did you know
Hmm.
that?
No, not until you told me I didn't. No.
Yeah, although there's a long list of unfamiliar names on ingredient labels on processed foods, as you know, you can just pick up any label and just, I mean, your eyes go cross-eyed reading it because you have no idea what these products are. However, many people are unaware of another category of additives never listed on labels. These are invisible additives. They're known as processing aids. So
Hmm.
processing aids serve various roles in food production. They can soak and wash ingredients. They can filter beverages like wine or juice to make them clearer or to improve to improve the texture of bread, to make it
Hmm.
softer and more elastic. So during the production process, these aids are consumed, transformed, or removed, rendering them virtually undetectable in the final product and ultimately not appearing on the ingredient label. But as Peter, even though there's a trace amount and the FDA says, well, it's such a small amount, doesn't matter. What my question is, what happens over the course of your lifetime when you're
Hmm.
exposed to all of these
Sure.
ingredients, right? It's a toxic load. It really
Hmm.
is. So the use of certain processing aids can increase levels of contaminants in beverages, according to the FDA. For example, they did a study in Hungary where they added 21 types of commercial bentonite products to white wine and found that while some showed no significant changes in lead content, others increased considerably. So bentonite, by the way, is used as a beverage filter. So
Hmm.
another processing aid is methylene chloride, which is
Hmm.
used to remove caffeine from coffee beans, producing decaffeinated coffee. They did studies where they found residues of the levels of these of methylene chloride in the final product. So another filter is hexane, used to
Hmm.
extract vegetable oils such as canola, sunflower, and cottonseed. So hexane is a neurotoxin to humans. Exposure can cause headaches, dizziness, and prolonged exposure can lead to nerve damage. Yikes.
Ah, yeah.
So I guess my point is there are safer options if you're interested. So there's mechanical pressing methods for extracting vegetable oils and using water extraction for decaffeinating coffee. And I think most of these products can be found at Whole Food stores, organic food stores. And so, but basically do your homework,
That's
and
right.
be aware of what you're consuming. It's not just in your personal care products, it's in everything. And I think we
For
just
sure.
have to be aware.
Hmm. And the bottom line is consume less processed foods, and
Oh,
then you
sure.
don't have much problem. Buy local, organic, farm-grown vegetables as close as possible, and consume less processed foods. Yeah, makes sense. And I know, having been in the food industry many, many years ago when I was in the corporate world,
Mhm.
yes, I know there's something called flocculants is another one that helps float stuff that you want to extract out of a liquid. It floats it to the surface so it can be skimmed off, and then you've got other stuff to help sediment particles you don't want to end up in the finished product, and you've got wetting aid. There's a whole host of those
Wow,
things that,
yeah.
and a lot of them are alcohol based as well, which interesting
I mean,
stuff.
it's even maple syrup. I didn't know this, but when you buy organic maple syrup versus regular maple syrup, I often wondered, it's maple syrup. It's from trees. What's the difference? But then I found out that they use formaldehyde, a solution of formaldehyde, to clean the
Pipes,
tubing, the pipe.
tubes, yeah.
Exactly. Which I had no idea. And I think with the organic process is that they use, I believe, alcohol to do that.
Yeah,
And
but the traditional way, of course, was no pipes. It was straight into pails, and then the pails were carried, but because labor's expensive now, they connect all these taps to pipes or tubes, and then have
sure,
a vacuum pump to pump them into. Yeah, it's quite an organized process. Yeah,
it
but
is.
there's a few anomalies. I'm not knocking organic foods in the slightest, but do you know that organic, you can have food certified organic that have been treated with stuff like copper oxychloride is a historically successful way of preventing bacterial and some fungal diseases in many plants. And it was copper oxychloride was developed because back, I think in the 1800s, French wine growers found that when they scrubbed out their copper wine vats and emptied the residue along the vines, they stopped all this fungal disease. And that was the start of this copper-based fungicide. And now, because it's a natural product, you can use copper oxychloride on organic crops,
Uh, okay.
whereas most people would think, hang on, that's a fungicide. We can't use that, but you actually can. As far as that used to be the regulation when I was doing it, but it's one of the safer ones. It's a lot safer than some of the synthetics. But
Right.
interesting. Again, it just reinforces what you're saying. Watch the label,
Or in this
and
case, if it's not on the label, you just kind of have to do your homework, right?
do your homework. Find out how it was produced. Yeah, that's
Mm,
for sure.
yeah,
So thanks, Kathleen. Now you've got a product to recommend.
I
And
do.
before you start, I've got to tell you and the
Yeah.
audience that my fresh supply of Dr. Morse's Heal All Tea arrived today, and I took it again today. We're trying to get our cat to drink it to see if it sorts his problem out, but he won't drink it
Yeah.
at this stage.
I
We
brought
will, we
glass
will
right here.
persevere.
Here.
You've got yours, and it tastes okay. I quite enjoy it, so
Good.
I'm on to that one now. Over to you for your product of the day.
Well, Peter, today what I would like to give a plug for is Dr. Morris's GI Broom. Can you see that?
Yeah, now GI broom in a
Yeah.
jar, right?
Yeah, they come in capsule form, and it's a powerful herbal laxative and lymphatic puller. It functions to promote the removal of buildup from the intestinal wall using psyllium husk and a cascara sagrada, while also stimulating the flow of interstitial fluid from the gut lining into the lymphatic circulation and elimination with the help of chickweed, melon, plantain, and aloe resin. It supports the body's natural cleansing and detoxification process. And I
Hmm.
must tell you also that because it's an herbal laxative, your body does not become dependent on this product. So once
Right.
you take it, and a lot of laxatives that you find in the drugstores, if you keep using them, your body does eventually become dependent on those
Right.
products. Not so with this
Okay.
one. It's very effective and really works to take out the sludge that is left in your intestinal tract, and it does a great job, let me tell you.
Ah, then maybe I should get some of that too, because when I had a certain procedure not that long ago, they said to me I had accumulated a lot of sludge. Uh, yes, so I think that'll better be part of my next order as well. Thanks
Right.
for that, Kathleen.
And
There you are.
yes,
Sorry.
no, on to you.
Okay, so for those of you who've got problems in the gut area, you should really strongly consider this one. Let's tell you what's been happening on the Yakking Show. Our guest this week, published on Tuesday, episode 318, was Patrick Eilers, and he is a counselor and he specializes in porn and sexual sex addiction. And both Kathleen and I think I'm speaking for you here, but we were astounded to hear how bad this problem is. I had sort of heard whispers in my church that many men struggle with this, and Patrick told us that it's increased exponentially since the advent of the internet, because before that, it was both costly and difficult to get hold of pornography, right? And I think back to my younger days in a very conservative part of the world in Africa where Playboy and things like that were banned. And in South Africa, if you were caught with a pornographic 8mm movie, you could end up going to jail, right? It was that serious. So most of us grew up without ever having watching or had access to anything like that at all.
And it's
So
not isolated to just men, by the way,
no, sure.
right?
That's right.
Hmm.
But he went on to explain the problems that it causes in relationships with partners, in attitude. It's mainly a male problem, but as you say, it's not just male problem.
Right.
But with men, and I asked the question, I said, surely someone who's addicted to the more violent pornographic movies, this must change their attitude to women. He said it's absolutely a huge problem that men who get addicted to this, it damages their relationships very badly. And he has a recovery process. He counsels people, and it ended on quite a good note in that he says there's hope. So if people are struggling with this, they should really get professional help. So I thought that was a very good episode. And anyone who's worried about that type of addiction, what I got to say is he said, because it's a process addiction and not a substance addiction, it's in fact more difficult to stop, right? You have to get some help. So that was a good one. So who's coming up next week? Next week we have Andrea Sides, who's a mystic. She helps people overcome trauma from childhood incidents and other problems in life. She's quite a character. She's been like you down into the jungle of Peru, I think, if I remember rightly, and imbibed these mind-altering drugs and all that sort of thing in the process. I won't keep going on, but she's a very interesting character to listen to. The week after that will be
They're not
Nancy.
drugs, people, but it's for healing, Peter. It's for healing.
Yes, it's sure. Like magic mushrooms and like too much
You
alcohol.
know what? The locals have been using it for over 10,000
Oh,
years,
sure.
and they do see
I,
it as a healing substance.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that I'm wary of it because I know what too much alcohol does to one from personal experience and many years ago, and I would be wary. That's just my thinking. So we won't get into that argument. I'm sure it did you a lot of good. Then the week after that, we have Nancy Betcher, who she helps women overcome invisible illnesses and conditions. And she's also a real character. She is somewhat disabled herself, but that doesn't stop her. She organizes functions, she does public speaking, she runs this website, and she helps women who can't get a conventional job because of their condition to start some sort of home-based business or little business. She's worth listening to. And then looking ahead, another week will be Andy Kozlowski, very interesting, younger and inspirational younger man who has done all sorts of crazy things like 10-day mountain, what a 10-day fast was one, and then a midwinter mountain challenge where he climbed an icy mountain only wearing a pair of shorts. I mean, that just really boggles my mind. But he talks about overcoming adversity. He talks about getting on in life. Also, very inspirational talk and one worth watching. And then giving you some advance notice coming up later in August will be a return visit of DJ Kadagian, who's the author and the near-death experience expert, and he's going to be talking on near-death experiences, which both of us find fascinating and many other people do too. So that's the lineup for the next few weeks. Got some really good guests coming. To make sure you don't miss out, hop onto the website, theyakkingshow.com. There's a form on the front page or a purple button where you can sign up for our newsletter. We'll only send you one email a week. We're not going to flood you with emails, and we just keep you in the picture. Who's on this week, who's coming next week, and the weeks thereafter. And Kathleen, I think that's about it from me. So it's back to you.
Oh, well, Peter, and thank you also very much for tuning into our show. We're always looking for stellar guests. And if you think you're one of them, an expert in anything to do with health, we'd like to hear from you. So all you have to do is go to theyakkingshow.com. All you have to do is click on the contacts tab and fill out a short application form. And Peter, you wanted to add something?
Well, that just reminded me, we had a guest that we recorded this week. Erica Hoke, and she'll be coming up later in August, and she's an expert on helping women get pregnant and overcoming fertility issues naturally. And she came up with an acronym, I can't remember the full name, but it's called MTHFR. It's a genetic thing that affects some women. And so if any of you listening to this know or are expert on dealing with MTHFR, we'd love to have you on the show, because I'm sure many members of our audience and the general public would like to know more about that. So that just reminded me when you were talking about guests.
Absolutely.
Now I've done my bit once again, so I will say goodbye, everybody.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.